Hey guys, welcome back to the Fandom Minutes. I'm Mike.
And I'm Brian. It's good to be back. And today, since the the news for Halo is coming out on the 23rd, we figured we'd do an episode about Halo, kind of list our ideas, speculations, stuff that we want to see in the game, and just cross our fingers and hope it comes true.
Dude, I'm so excited. Each passing day gets closer. I'm just so pumped.
I'm like grasping at things, anything I can get a hold of. Like I've been listening, well, I'd say reading, but I'm listening to all the books while I'm at work, and I think I've got about 4 or 5 more to go. And then they've got the new book coming out before the game releases, Shadows of Reach. I've got the Audible edition, and it was put back in October. It was supposed to be out in September, so I'm gonna check I'm gonna check the actual book, and if the release date is what it should be, or what it was in September, I might buy it instead of waiting for it to come out a month later on Audible. But I guess what we'll do is we'll start out with campaign. I know you said you had some stuff that you want to talk about with Cortana, so I'll let you start off, and then I only have like one idea, so I'll end that topic on that.
Okay. So with the little bit of information they've given us, there's a lot of theories, a lot of speculation, and at this point, that's really all we've got. I mean, they're doing a pretty good job of just kind of feeding you just enough information to keep you baited, but not enough to really give away any spoilers. I know that one thing they did say was the little bit of stuff we did see, the little bit of cutscenes and all that, they are pretty close to the beginning of the game. I know they said that. So that makes me wonder, what is coming up. But one of the theories that has been going around and that I am really curious about involves Cortana and the possibility of her controlling the majority of the galaxy. So obviously the end of Halo 5 saw Cortana activate the massive Forerunner Guardians to use as police force against all sentient life in the galaxy. So if any specific species or being were to step out of line in that galaxy, which is a line she created, of course, Cortana could eradicate them without so much as a second thought.
Right.
Now, with such a cliffhanger for an ending, Guardians, Halo 5 Guardians effectively ensured that the next Halo game would be about dealing with this monstrous problem that is Cortana. And so the theory is that Halo Infinite will most likely be about what is left of a resistance trying to overthrow Cortana's rule.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on that? Like, do you have any other insight into that, or do you think that's a possibility, or?
I think it's a possibility. Like, I mean, they're going to have to come to terms with Cortana. Like, they're going to have to confront her. It makes you wonder, like, like the Halo Wars games, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Spirit of Fire. Like, I'll save more of that topic for when we move on into our campaign ideas. But like, yeah, you're gonna have to face Cortana. Like, were you wanting to know my idea, like that I had? About
yeah.
Cortana?
What do you? Yeah.
Well, I can't remember. I think I had heard it mentioned in a video, but like at the end of Halo 4, where Chief is like trying to get through all these platforms to get to the Didact, and she's splitting herself into all these fragments, right?
That's right, yeah.
So, like, there's all these different copies of her in this system, and I'm just wondering if like one of those copies are the Cortana that we know now, that's in charge of all the Guardians, that's in the mantle, because there's an audio clip of her saying something like, I don't know how, but this is part of me.
This is part of me. I don't know why. I don't know how, but it is me.
Actually, another theory that I had read about and kind of questioned as well. More or less, the theory is that the message that you're talking about exactly, the one that was in that trailer. In that trailer, fans basically took that as a there's a shocking meaning behind Cortana's words there. The message states that, as you said, this is part of me. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it is me.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the favorite theories for that, as to what these words mean, is that another Cortana is going to be made by Halsey. Once again, Halsey will flash clone her brain and make a new Cortana model for the Chief. And people were thinking that seems like a pretty likely possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the part about that for me was, it says basically flash clone her brain again. So it makes me wonder if there's already more than one Cortana. Like if she's just had different backups in a way, or what, like I'm curious on how that would play out.
Yeah, like I'm wondering, like, are we going back to Reach? Like that's what a lot of the speculation is. The book, that's like, I'm trying to get caught up on all the books. Well, my next topic is Guilty Spark. He's still alive.
Yes. Bugger.
He's basically in a humanoid form. Last I read, he builds this armature. So this Oni group on the ship Rubicon goes and gets his, basically, I can't think of the word to describe it. They get Guilty Spark out of his casing and they kind of start interrogating him. And like his memories and stuff were all screwed up. Like he can't remember like the events that just happened. Like he doesn't remember killing Sergeant Johnson, contacting any of the humans on the Ark or anything like that. So what he ends up doing is he ends up having some like of his human memories come back. His Guilty Spark used to be a human known as Chakas, who knew the Iso Didact when he was born Stellar.
Yes.
So he starts having some of his human memories coming back, and he remembers the librarian. And I'm trying to remember if it was an audio file that I heard or somewhere I read. But he's like trying to remember where the librarian is, and all of a sudden, like his human side of him remembers, so he starts looking for the librarian. Anyways, long story short, he somehow ends up crashing the Rubicon, but he survives, and he starts pulling armatures together to give himself a body.
Yeah.
And he finds this new group, and they are, trying to find a librarian, and eventually he finds a personality program of the librarian, like what Chief ran into, or what Halsey ran into in Spartan Ops. Do you remember the Spartan Ops?
Yeah.
Those videos? Well, basically, she is telling Chakas, or Guilty Spark, or he calls himself Spark now, that he can, like, he asks her, do you want to join me, become like a physical, not a physical being, but have a physical body? And she says, it's not yet time, or something along those lines. And then she offers him to come, I think, into the mantle with her and go to the, I can't remember the name of it, the Ultimate Record, or it's like some place where like all information is held, supposedly. And at the end of the Spartan Ops, the librarian gives Halsey the Janus key, that thing that splits into two pieces. And through the comics, she ends up getting both pieces because she had to give one to Thorn when Palmer was coming after her. But anyway, she has this Janus key, and like she Halsey's everything and ends up getting the other side, and they're going to this this record place because it shows the location when you combine the Janus key. And I know that kind of plays out a little bit. She goes there and she meets the librarian again, but I can't remember what happens. I'm not that far into the story. But I mean, that's something else that could, kind of go into the campaign. Like, are we going to meet Guilty Spark again? Is the librarian going to come into play? And like another thing that kind of leads into the next part of this is John's gifts. He's immune to the composer. That was only for Halo 4 and I think the comics Escalation, because there were several other composers. So I'm wondering if they're going to continue that. Like, what are his other gifts?
Right. So I've actually wondered that as myself, because it's one of those situations where these things came into light. You know, you learned about all this stuff, but then there's not really much else about it. Like, you get a certain scope of it, and then you're left wondering, like, where does it go from here? You know, is it something that's going to just expand on what there is currently and just expand on that? Is new stuff going to be added? You know, new gifts, just new information in general about him and about, you know, what makes him special, what makes him who he is and everything. You know, how much more is there that you can learn? Well, I mean, just the Chief in general. You know, in Halo, you basically have to understand that Halsey has a reason for doing everything she does. Yeah. And the fact that she fought to get him in the first place, even as a boy, like, there's got to be more reasoning to it. You know, there's got to be more to it. And I'm really hoping that they continue to expand on the Chief as a whole. Because one complaint that a lot of people have always had is that he's too robotic.
Yeah.
They say that, you know, there's not a whole lot of depth to his character. But if you read the books and you read the comics and stuff like that, there's a lot about his character.
Yeah.
And
the game's kind of cut his personality short.
Right. And I'm so ready to hear about it. You know, I'm ready to hear more about that. I know that he's supposed to take more of a singular presence in this one, as opposed to jumping back and forth between two sides, which I was not too fond of. I know that when it came to Spartan Locke, I believe Locke.
Yeah.
I know when it came to him, the fandom was kind of split. You either loved him or you hated him. And really, the only thing I liked about him was his helmet. I was a big fan of his helmet. Which, speaking of his helmet, I'm sure we've all seen that.
Yeah.
It looks like something might go down. Like I said, as far as Locke goes, I'm not really a fan of him.
Yeah. He could have been a great character, but the way they played him against
Chief,
and then, like, made you play as him while you're trying to capture your favorite character in the game. I mean, so that's what made me hate him.
It's an interesting take. And, you know, Halo's not the only one that's done that as of recent. Because, you know, Nikki's currently playing Last of Us 2, and they did a similar situation on there where you bring in the secondary character, and it's like you want us to like them, but they're literally against one of the characters we love. So it's very difficult to see it that way. So I'm curious to see how that plays out, and, you know, hopefully it ends up being hopefully it doesn't end up going south, you know, and being a different character. But I guess we'll have to see.
Like, the main thing I thought through half of Halo 5 is they're trying to replace Blue Team with Team Osiris, and they're trying to replace Master Chief with Locke. Because I kept thinking, I was like, why else would they bring in a new main character that is a Spartan and has his own team? I mean, well, I was thinking something, I can't remember what I was going to say. But yeah, I didn't like him from the beginning. It's like, who are you and why am I playing you in this game? Like, the only other person,
I feel like they tried too hard to make you like him. It was kind of like they force-fed him to you, and I wasn't a fan of that. Yeah. I do, however, like Buck. Buck's always been a favorite of mine. And so, anytime I got a chance to play him, that's who I chose on my, to play as. So, but yeah, I'm hoping that with this game coming out, I hope that they get back to the focus on the Chief and Cortana and all of that, and just kind of expand on that part of the universe as opposed to adding new characters, wanting us to,
at least new playable characters, like
right.
A new character story, and the only other person I want to play as is the Arbiter.
Right. Right.
So, and like I wasn't too fond of that in the second one, but it grew on me. Like the first level, I was like, oh man, this is kind of where you're playing as Arbiter. I'm like, this is kind of weird. I don't know if I like this. And then you get further into that level, and where he goes, down into the flood infestation and everything. It's like, I kind of dig it. It's different. It's new. It's part of the story.
As far as that part of it goes, for me, the reason the Arbiter works so well, besides the fact that I'm a huge fan of his voice actor, but I think the reason he worked out so well is the fact that he was a character who was part of a species that we were more or less taught to hate in the series. And so, along with the Chief having to decide, can I trust this guy? We also did that. And through playing as him and seeing where he went with his story, we came to kind of trust him more. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that character was like, he earned the right for me to want to play as him. As to where Locke was kind of like, hey, this guy's coming in, he's the new hot dog, and you guys are going to have to use him. And so I wasn't a fan of that.
Mm-hmm. But it's like kind of forced into it.
Is there any other things that you are hoping to see?
There is one thing, and I'm going to get grilled for this. A while back, when I did watch Halo Follower, he had this idea that, and I can hear it in the comments already. He had this idea. There in the Halo universe, there's these things called Geas.
Mm-hmm.
Geas, and basically it is a forerunner consciousness inside. Like people say that Halsey has a librarian's Geas, or Cortana has the librarian's Geas, because it would make sense with either one of those, because his primary theory is that John has the isodidact key, and he tries to prove it through in Halo CE, where you're in the control room and you come back with Guilty Spark for the first time, and Cortana's there, and you're about to activate the ring. He's like, why would you hesitate to do this when you've already done it before? He's like, you've asked it before if I do it, and the answer still remains the same.
Why would you hesitate to do what you've already done?
We need to go right now.
Last time you asked me, if it were my choice, would I do it? Having had considerable time to ponder your query, my answer has not changed.
Isodidact asked him if he could do it, and it took a while for Guilty Spark to answer. And there's a terminal video, I believe, that it mentions that Guilty Spark. It shows a visual, like a wireframe virtual image of Chief's helmet, and I swear he says, I'm checking or verifying your Geas or something like that. It says something about the Geas, and it's referencing to Master Chief.
It contains significant dangers, and even with your assumed legacy, I must verify the presence and pitch of your Geas before allowing full access.
So it's kind of far-fetched, but it's not. It's plausible. I think it'd be really cool. I mean, if they're talking about, Chakkus and Riser was Chakkus' friend, they had memories from their ancestors, their Geas. So, I just think it'd be really cool.
That's very interesting. I didn't know anything about that, but that actually sounds really cool to me. Mm-hmm. Now, if that was something, let's play with it for a second and say that actually came to be. Is that something that would have been with him from the very beginning? Like, is that something he would have been born for?
Type thing. Like the librarian says when she meets John, she's like, I've planted seeds in humanity that have led to an eventuality. And so it kind of just leads me to believe at certain times, like basically humanity is programmed to do or realize certain things. She's like, it's all an eventuality. Your combat skin, you're in Scylla Cortana, you know. So like everything's come down to this, just like I planned, so to speak.
So that actually, so now that I think about it, kind of what we were just saying earlier about how Halsey does everything for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she chose John from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of gives weight to that.
If she had the librarian skills and John had the isodidact, I mean, they were married because he has the didact. He's basically, he is the didact. He's just like the didact gave him his memories and stuff like that.
I believe there was something at one point that, because Cortana would basically be an extension of Halsey in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe there was a point where Cortana said something to the chief about, like, I chose you or something like that. So, like, all of that stuff that was kind of, I don't want to say throwaway lines, but, like, they didn't really give an answer for them right away. Like, that would be an explanation that, to me, really solidifies that and gives that some weight, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's actually, you know, you say a lot of people are kind of, like, not on board with that, but out of all the topics that we've had and the theories that have gone around, it's got a lot of, like, it kind of really makes you think because of the fact that there's so many possibilities. But it's not just like I'd like to see this happen. Like, there's other, so to speak, seeds that have been planted that, no pun intended, that have kind of sown into that and could make that a reality.
But all right, so let's move on to customization. So I've got armor variants. What would you like to see return?
Yes. So I would like to see some legacy armor, armor from back in the day. Specifically, I'm talking Rogue helmet back would be nice. That's my OG, which is another reason why I pointed out that that's like the only thing I liked about Locke was his helmet, because it was very close to the Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
But it would definitely be cool to see maybe a little more customization. Like, instead of just being like, okay, well, both arms can look like this, or your full legs. It'd be cool if you could individualize that, like these shins with these boots with, and maybe that's asking for a lot, but I feel like with games these days, it's definitely possible to do.
Yeah.
But out of any game I've ever played that's had customization, Halo has been one of my favorites. Because for a game that's built on people with suits of armor, there were so many variations you could have.
Mm-hmm.
The odds of going in... Now, I know there was things like the Hayabusa and... what was that one? The one that everybody liked, the real rounded one?
The Recon?
Recon. I know there's stuff like that, and a lot of people use those just because they were popular and fancy. But as far as, when you had the variations, it was very rare to go into a game and be like, oh, that guy's wearing exactly what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
And being able to change the colors and all that kind of stuff. So cool. So cool.
Yeah. I think I'm really glad that they're going back with a Reach style customization, because, that was the pinnacle of customization.
Yes.
That was Bungie's love song to us. That was their last game. And they nailed it, dude. Like, they really did.
I've got to say, Reach, specifically story-wise, Reach was my favorite. I like games that have stakes. That's why I've always been a big fan of Gears. And with Halo Reach, the fact that you were this character that was, at the very end, you sacrificed your life for this mission. Like that really, really meant a lot to me. And so everything that Bungie did in that game, I don't think I had any problems with it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, the customization on that was phenomenal, really. Compared to most games, and specifically games from that generation. Like, that was a big change up from what a typical shoot 'em up game would be, with multiplayer. So
yeah. And like you said, I mean, the colors was another one of my topics. I'd like to see, I don't know, maybe like a third color tied in, maybe? Like you could have your primary and secondary color. I wouldn't mind having a third color. I mean, you could do the visor. I mean, I guess that could be counted as a third color, but I mean, you didn't have the same options as you would for your colors on your armor. But that'd be a cool idea.
Right? I like that idea because it gives you that much more differentiation. Is that a word? Lets you differentiate between yourself and other people a little more. There's probably going to be a bunch of people with green and orange, but there may not be people with green, orange, and whatever third color they're in there. Another thing that would be cool is if you could do other things to make your armor more personalized, whether that be like maybe you want to have custom scarring on part of your helmet,
battle damage,
or like the was it Emil that had the skull on his helmet, stuff like that. Just things that when you look at it, you go, man, that's badass. That's me. That's or I don't know if you ever played like Army of Two, where you could do custom paint jobs on your masks. There's people doing like Deadpool masks and all kinds of crazy stuff, and it would be cool to be able to add stuff like that to your mask or to your helmet. I mean,
that was the topic of accessories, like just different things you can make your armor more unique to you. Right.
Another thing that I've seen people talk about as far as what other people would like for customization. A lot of games, they give you commendations and they give you awards and achievements and stuff. And it would be cool if certain achievements could be displayed on your armor.
That would be cool.
Like, say you won a tournament, and then you get a badge on your shoulder piece. It's got like, the logo for the tournament you won, or maybe you completed the game on Legendary, so you get the big old Legendary logo on your chest piece or something, or like just different things like that would be really cool. It'd be something different than other games, but it would be, man, it'd be awesome.
That would be pretty sweet. Let's see. Go ahead.
No, I was just kind of mulling that over in my head again.
Kind of one more thing just to end this section. I'd like to see the weapon skins come back.
Yes. So I did see a thing,
but it's a game. Like I heard some people complain they wouldn't want it to come back, like the pizza skin. So what?
What? Hey, whatever it takes, dude. Like, I mean, look at Fortnite. Some of the stuff they put out. Like, it's a wonder that anyone buys it. I say that, but I buy a lot of it. But I did see a post the other day that one of the Halo games was reinstating like Warthog skins, and that would be cool.
Like a shark or something like that.
Yeah, and so you could do that with your weapons too, like kind of like what Fortnite does with the weapon skins. I don't know if maybe they would want to go into the whole like where they move and glow and stuff, but anything would be cool. I know the pizza skin you're talking about. I used it when I played Halo. So like when I played was that 4 or 5 that had that one? Do you remember?
I think it was 5.
It was 5.
I'm trying to remember the rec packs because I remember Warzone was in 5. It's been so long since I played 4 or 5. So sorry if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, I think it was 5.
I'm pretty sure it was too. And that was one of the coolest things ever. Was like, oh, check out this weapon skin, man. I know they had like the Optic Gaming and stuff when they did their Halo tournament. I know you could get weapon skins and stuff to support them. And I had Optic Gaming because it had like a green and silver color scheme.
Nice.
Pretty sick.
I think my favorite one had to be the Tron looking one where the outline was lined and stuff. That was cool. So I guess since we're talking about like a Warzone, we'll move into game modes. I want there to be Forge. I want it to be a massive scale Forge. I mean, they did real good with Halo 5. I think they could do even better in this. Of course, multiplayer. Kind of like a war. Like let's get the and theater. We'll talk about this next one last. What are your ideas? with
So,
game modes. Other than what I'm thinking.
Right off the bat, while we're talking about Forge, when Halo first did Forge, it was initially pretty basic compared to the games today. When you think of the scope of like Fortnite's creative and stuff like that, it's changed a lot. But Halo was one of the first games to ever do something like that. To let you create your own maps. And then even, I think at one point they even had maps created by people that you could play on. Like, I mean, it was a huge thing. And so, yeah, the puzzle maps, dude. I remember doing so many of those. We used to get on at least once a week and do them, which we should start doing again if they incorporate that. But yeah, definitely Forge has got to be there. I remember forging so many cool things. I've still got a Ninja Turtles map that I was building on there that I was still working on.
Right?
Yeah.
I remember that.
So yeah, man, I always loved Forge. I think that was my favorite thing they ever incorporated, and I'll be upset if they don't have it.
Yeah.
Like, because that's
confirmed, but I wanted to see, like, I want it, and this kind of goes into my next topic within game modes. I want it to be that if they don't have a battle royale, you could build your own battle royale map.
That would be interesting.
Just like template cities or towns or just little areas. So you're not like spending 5 months making a battle royale map.
Well, so on that kind of subject of it, when they had Warzone, it wasn't quite a battle royale, but it would be so simple for them to turn that into a battle royale with the same type of elements to the theme of it, without making it too far out there. I think they could do it. I know battle royale. A lot of people think that battle royales are dead and that they've outdone themselves, like they've just outstayed their welcome. But I love the battle royale setup.
I don't necessarily believe they're dead. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Oh no, go ahead.
It's people go from one to the other is what I've noticed. Like I play Fortnite all the time, and I don't even know what made me quit playing it that much. And then like I kind of checked out Apex, and I'm like, all right, I'm not good at the building aspect of Fortnite. I'll play some Apex, and then I kind of liked it a little bit. And then there was Warzone. I played a little bit of Warzone, and then I went back to Fortnite. I mean, Fortnite has always had me because it's constantly something different. You're always exploring something new, or a new weapon, or item, all the battle pass stuff. But go ahead, I didn't interrupt you.
Oh no, it's all right. So a lot of people talk about how they're. I mean, you see it on any post you go to. Fortnite's dead, or Apex is just trying to be Fortnite, blah, 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 stuff like that. But there are ways that Halo could take that and make it their own. Make it. Yes, it's a battle royale, but it's Halo battle royale. Come dropping in a drop pod, just burst out.
I'm scared. If they deep down inside, I want them to do a battle royale, but at the same time, I don't, because I don't want them to screw up. I kind of got into a debate on one of the Halo pages I'm on. This dude ended up insulting me like I would be the reason 343 decided not to do a battle royale. But I want Halo to be the pioneer game that it was when Bungie had it. I mean, they were coming up with their own ideas. I don't ever recall another game having a fire, or like you pointed out.
Yes.
They came up with their own shit, and here recently it's kind of been them copying off of Call of Duty with Sprint and the loadout system and the perks, that not specifically perks but abilities, and then Call of Duty copying off of a Halo. I think it was one of the Black Ops games, was an outer space game and whatnot, and it was Space Marine stuff, and I want Halo to be the lead again. A $500 million budget game.
That's the thing with Yeah, that's a huge budget. Like,
Yeah,
they've got to do amazing with it.
Yeah, and I know they've been like working on it for 5 years, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's 5 years of work. Hopefully.
Right. But as far as the game modes go, even after Bungie handed off the reins, and I know when that happened, a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, it's dead." It's and because I remember hearing a lot of negative stuff, but as far as game modes go, Halo in general, no matter who's had it, has always been able to step it up and do the best that they possibly can and make things their own. Because since Halo came out, a lot of games have thrown out a building aspect as far as Forge goes, but none of them have ever done it quite like Halo did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and part of that comes down to player base. There's a lot of things that you can do in Halo's Forge that they didn't intend you to do. Like when you used to like forge things, what was it called? Where you would phase them into each other.
Yeah.
Or I remember building a map that looked like like, and I remember building a map that was like a headquarters, because I built a lot of base kind of stuff, hangout spots and all that. I remember building one and actually having the ability to sit in a chair, because you fuse a mongoose into a chair and it looks like you're sitting in it. No game to this day, not even Fortnite, has been able to do that with a battle royale, or with a building aspect. So, and the fact that they were like, "Hey, cool, you figured out how to do that? All right, let's just roll with that," and it became a staple of the Forge property. So I have no lack of faith whatsoever in the multiplayer aspect of the Halo franchise in any capacity. You're going to have people that love it. You're going to have people that hate it, no matter what game it is. And Halo is not going to be any exception. There's always going to be somebody who hates it for one reason or the other. I knew people that wouldn't play it just because it was first person. Like, I mean, if you're never going to try it for that, then you can't please anybody. So, as far as multiplayer goes in any of the aspects, I think they'll do a great job. They'll knock it out of the park. The part that they're going to have to do is work on replayability, I feel like, because that's a big issue in today's gaming market in general. How likely are you going to be to plug that game in and play multiplayer over Fortnite or Call of Duty or Valorant or any of those other games? Because if you don't bring something that everybody's going to love, or that enough people are going to love to keep it in business, then it's not going to matter. But I feel like, there's still people to this day playing as far back as they possibly can on the Halo franchise. I remember the day that I heard Halo 2 was finally, like, their servers were finally shutting down or whatever. And I remember people playing until they were literally kicked off. Like, and that just tells you just how good Bungie was at keeping it fresh and keeping it lovable. You know what I mean? So I feel like I feel like 343 will be able to knock it in as well.
Yeah. Like, there's been talks that they're going to do a Battle Royale-esque type of game, and that has me interested. Like, the idea of coming down on a drop pod is fucking awesome. Sorry, I don't know how you guys deal with cussing on here, but...
No, that's all right. It's all right.
So, moving on from game modes, the open world, I want to say it's been confirmed, and I kind of like the idea. I just wonder how they're going to tie it in with campaign.
So, open world aspect for me is a huge, huge factor. I love open world for the simple fact that it makes everything feel that much more realistic to me.
Mm-hmm.
I like, so Gears of War has always been pretty, weed you through it for the most part.
Yeah.
But this newest one, yeah, Gears 5 finally went open world, and it's made for one of the best campaigns I think I've ever had from one of their games, simply for the fact that you could play it and do it your style. You could play it in whatever order you wanted to. I mean, obviously there was a specific linear story, but there were little things, little shortcuts, little additional things you could do on top of that to explore and all kind of stuff. And I feel like if Halo did that, oh my gosh, that would be so awesome.
Just imagine all that you could find.
Yeah.
Flags everywhere. That'd be so awesome.
And that leaves open, more area for them to do the little Easter eggs, like the little grunts talking to each other and stuff.
Yes.
Imagine, you're on your way to this next mission and you just roll up on a Covenant transport of people, of their crew trying to get somewhere else, and you just wipe them out, Or you sneak up on this little band of grunts and they're just having a little powwow over there. It just leaves a possibility for so many options, so many things to happen.
That would be cool.
And it'd be cool if, like, say you're on your way to do something, and all of a sudden you get a call over the comm or something. Hey, we got word that there's a little insurgents group in your area. Can you weed them out real quick while you're, on your way or whatever?
That would be awesome.
So cool, and it could extend out whatever storyline they've got. You could extend that out. You could throw in extra little things, kind of like the old fire team missions they did. Stuff like that, So many options.
That
Open world
cool.
is amazing.
I'm excited for it. So I guess to kind of close it up, I mean, I know we kind of touched on it in the beginning of the video, but the book, like, I'm extremely curious of what's going to happen in the book leading up to the game. Like, they're going to have to Reach.
So pumped about it.
Yeah, like some people are speculating. I mean, the only reason they go back to Reach is either for Runner Artifact or Cortana. So,
yes.
Once I get off here, I'm going to look on Amazon and see if the release dates are different, or if the actual physical book still releases on the same date that it was supposed to. Then I'm probably going to order it. Like, I mean, because I can get, through Prime, I can get Audible books, like free Audible books once a month.
Right. Yeah.
Free for having Prime.
So while touching on that, I was actually reading a thing about the potential for them going back to Reach, and that topic brought it into the storyline from Halo Wars potentially being able to play more of a factor into the original, actual franchise, as far as Halo Wars, because of the type of game that it is. It's not really ever been a big thing for some people. Some people aren't into that type of game, and somebody was talking about how certain aspects of them going back to Reach could give them reason to bring in certain elements from Halo Wars to play a factor in the main story. That'd be cool. I think that'd be freaking awesome. Like, to finally be able to and I'm not saying that it hasn't been included, but to more or less include it in the larger picture, for people who've never played that game, which obviously the Banished, that's where they, that's where they were primarily from.
Yeah.
So, and Reach, as far as that goes, besides the game, the novel, The Fall of Reach, was one of my favorite Halo books in general. So, I'm so glad that they made books to begin with of Halo, because there was so much information,
so much more.
I mean, you took what was this, and you expanded it so far that it has become, I think, out of any game I've ever played, it may have one of the biggest expanded universes.
Mhm.
That's not suddenly like, oh, that's not canon, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, you know. So the fact that it's all there and there's just so much information, you know, beyond just the game, that just shows you how amazing the Halo franchise is.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, man. All right, that's all we've got, guys. Anything that you guys would like to see or you look forward to seeing on Thursday, 23rd, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your ideas.
Yep. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you smash the like button, like, comment, subscribe. Like he said, let us know if you'd like to see anything else. Let us know what your theories are and what you are looking forward to or what you hope doesn't happen. And we'll like your comments if we see them. But until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll catch you guys, believe, next week for another episode.
All right, see you guys.